Presiding Officer, today the Scottish Government has published reports which highlight the injustice and prejudice that Gypsy traveller individuals, families and communities have faced as a result of the historical policies and decisions colloquially known as the Tinker experiments. While these events predate this Parliament, it is important to recognise that the impacts of these policies are still felt today. I know that there are members of the communities impacted in the public gallery today. I welcome them to the Chamber and I applaud their tenacity in pursuing these issues over such a long period of time. Since its inception, this Parliament has demonstrated its willingness to address uncomfortable and, for some, incredibly painful elements of our national story. My statement today is set within that context. I invite Parliament to consider that only by confronting these difficult truths from our past, we are able to move forward, learning from the mistakes of the past as we work towards a more just and equitable Scotland, a Scotland that truly honours and celebrates the rich culture of Gypsy travellers. Presiding Officer, it falls to this Government to state without ambiguity that what happened to Gypsy traveller communities in Scotland was unacceptable. This starts with formally acknowledging and apologising for the harm caused by these actions. It is clear to the Government that stark prejudice and lack of cultural awareness led to a series of unfair and unjust policies. These policies resulted in children being removed from families, and families were forced to live in substandard accommodation and degrading conditions. The trauma that this has caused to individuals, families and groups, including those who regard themselves as victims of Tinker experiments, is significant and long-lasting. So, as First Minister of Scotland, I want to say this directly to Gypsy traveller communities. The Tinker experiments should not have happened. Those policies were wrong, and we recognise how much it is still hurting so many today. And more than anything else, I want to say this. On behalf of Scotland, we are sorry. Presiding Officer, we have come a long way since the Tinker experiments, but there is still much to do. We still see prejudice and ignorance today. Indeed, discrimination towards Gypsy travellers is often described as, and I quote, the last bastion of respectable racism, end quote. It is not. We must be united in unequivocally condemning all forms of hatred, discrimination and prejudice, particularly those that still cause members of Gypsy traveller communities in Scotland to feel unsafe, unwelcome or marginalised in their daily lives or in the expression of their identity and their way of life. This statement comes at a particularly important time as we celebrate Gypsy, Roma and Traveller History Month every June. Through celebration, education and raising awareness, the month plays a vital role in challenging prejudice, amplifying the voices of Gypsy, Traveller and Roma communities and reshaping public understanding of these issues. The national event organised by the Scottish Government at Dynamic Earth last week highlighted the important work being carried out by many of our national and local partners to improve the lives of Gypsy traveller communities in Scotland. It also celebrated the rich culture and heritage of these communities. I understand that the event was very well attended and very well received, and I would warmly encourage members, indeed anyone, to attend similar events in the future. We must all play our part in eradicating racism, inequality and injustice, and in building a better, fairer world where every person has the same opportunities and where everyone's individual needs are recognised and met. We can only achieve this by working together in partnership, ensuring communities are at the very heart of our discussions. That is why a short initial community consultation was commissioned to engage with members of Gypsy traveller communities impacted by historical policies. I know that the Minister for Equalities attended one of these sessions in person and was deeply moved by the powerful insights and experiences that were shared with such courage. We recognise that revisiting past trauma is never easy, and we are truly grateful for the generosity and the openness shown by members of the community throughout this process. We are also aware that others may still wish to share their stories, and I want to reassure them that the Government is here to listen whenever and however those individuals feel ready to explain their story. We have now published a summary of the results of this consultation, along with the archival research report, and are keen to continue the conversation to find the best and the most effective way forward. We also recognise that historical policies have affected individuals and groups differently, with both direct and indirect impacts. These effects vary based on multiple factors and often carry intergenerational consequences. Understanding this complexity is crucial as we work towards collective progress on this issue. Improving the lives of our Gypsy traveller communities is essential if we are to tackle deep-rooted inequalities and deliver a fairer Scotland. The progress we have made since the events outlined in this report is significant. It is testament to the collaborative work of national and local government, the dedication and tireless efforts of third sector organisations, and most of all, the determination of Gypsy travellers to ensure better futures for their communities. Since the publication of our first Gypsy Traveller-focused action plan, the Scottish Government has taken specific actions to improve the lives of Gypsy traveller communities in Scotland in key areas such as accommodation, tackling discrimination and improving representation, access to public services and also access to education. Last year, we published an updated action plan building on the successes we have had to date. At the same time, we recognise that there is still much more work to be done, and the experiences shared underline the need for systemic change, greater accountability and, crucially, a shift in attitudes at every level. We must do better. Recognising the harm caused by this prejudice is only the first step. It must be followed by meaningful action. This includes challenging stereotypes, confronting everyday discrimination and committing to long-term efforts that promote understanding, respect and equity for Gypsy travellers. Presiding Officer, we have reached this moment due to the efforts of many people. Individuals in Gypsy traveller communities have argued with care and tenacity for these injustices to be addressed. Some have not lived long enough to hear the words that I have shared with Parliament today. I pay tribute to all of their commitment to the pursuit of justice. I would also like to pay tribute to our late and former colleague and Minister for Equalities, Christina McKelvey. Christina fought tirelessly to address the inequality and the injustice that Gypsy traveller communities faced. I know that this apology today would be the recognition and the long-anticipated justice that Christina worked so hard to deliver for so many. I pay tribute to Christina McKelvey, who always listened to those who suffered injustice and acted to address that injustice. Presiding Officer, our hope is that we now have a foundation for continuing to build trust and the fostering of renewed relationships with all those who have been impacted by historical policies. As we look ahead, the Scottish Government is determined to maintain a strong leadership role in advocating for the rights of Gypsy traveller individuals and in celebrating the rich history, culture and contribution of these communities. An apology is not the end, but I hope the beginning of a new conversation. We want to continue this dialogue and to work together to keep improving the lives of Gypsy traveller individuals, families and communities in Scotland. That is the commitment I make to the communities and to Parliament today. Our duty is to address the errors of the past and to work for a better future.